Today was the end cap to an incredible week, and we're going to talk about it. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and do you know why Santa's helpers ate all the cookies? They had no elf control. Speaking of control, my hair is getting out of control. I need a haircut, something fierce. So stay tuned to that for this weekend. So we're going to take a look at the indices, the Qs, the SPY, IWM, thank you, to talk about each one of those, how they perform this week and what we can expect coming up for them. And then also some of the other stocks that I've been tracking. I want to share those with you. Google, Tesla, Nvidia, Enphase, Palantir, and ExxonMobil. So jam-packed full of this one, and it's going to happen in very quick order. So if you want to see how I'm playing this market, you can do so over at the Patreon. That link's down in the description. I have my options course over there. Check that out. And then also where you can get those free stocks from Moomoo. I'll talk all about that stuff later. In the meantime, we'll get to why you came here, which is for those charts. So here is QQQ. We're looking at the daily chart. You can see some of the technicals that I have out. This top yellow line is the previous all-time high from back in November of 2021. And let's zoom in on this thing so we can see what exactly it looks like, so we can see what happened. So we actually peaked up above it going back to Wednesday after the Fed came out and Jerome was like, we're doves now. And so market goes, yay. And well, today was a pretty good day for us, and you can see increased volume today being triple witching day, which was most definitely expected. And I'll tell you about my trades that I made. I made two trades today. One I opened yesterday and closed today, and the other one I did as a day trade today that worked out very handsomely for me. And hopefully the people over in my Discord are also able to take advantage of the situation. I'll tell you about that. I'll put that towards the end of this video though, so just stay tuned for that one. So for the week coming up, it is possible, we're going to have to watch, it is possible for this rally to continue. It is possible that we see some softness. We are way overbought on a daily basis. As I mentioned in my video this morning, on a weekly basis, just to update, we have crossed into overbought territory on a weekly basis as well. And as I mentioned before, we can stay in that overbought territory for a while. Check out going all the way back to, it looks like, end of May all the way up until we get to the middle to end of July is where we ended that territory. So we do want to keep an eye on that. Maybe we keep that going a little while longer, that we now have the previous all-time high as support. And if we go back to the daily chart, you can see that these previous 2 days, there we go. Let's zoom in on this for us a little bit. Boop. There we go. So the previous day, I should say today, we actually had that all-time high back from November as a support, this yellow line as a support for us. And so that's very much worth paying attention to. If that support holds, then we can move higher from here. If it breaks, we can come back down to 400. 400 is actually going to be a really nice area of support for us, and below that's 394. So be on the lookout for that. It is possible that we push even higher. Today's all-time high, by the way, came in. The new record that we have for the NASDAQ 100 being tracked by QQQ is, where's the high price? There it is, 406.54. So that was great. If I would have held on to my one option all the way up to that high, it would have been even better than it already was. So like I said, I'll talk about my trades in a moment on that one. Let's move over to the SPY, which actually used the last 2 days, which is where I started talking about earlier with the Qs, but it's actually the SPY. You can check it out. The last 2 days, we actually bounced as a low price off of the previous high back in, I think it was January actually, for what we have for SPY, tracking the S&P 500. And again, there's the increased volume that was expected, with today being that triple witching day. Next week will most likely be in that back to normal in terms of volume. And so we'll happen to see where that goes. It is possible, especially with these narrow-bodied candles like we have, that we do settle a little bit more before amping back up on this one. I think that there are still more record highs coming to the S&P and to the NASDAQ, especially the NASDAQ 100, and we need to stay tuned for that one. IWM settled a little bit today. I think there was a lot of profit taking that came along with the small caps. The rally that it's been on, let me click on a measurement stick here, and we'll talk about just how much we've put on from bottom to top of this thing. 24%. And how long did it take to do that? Well, from Friday, October 27th until December the 15th. There we go. There's our date range that we have for a 25% gain. And I've been talking about this thing since before we had that dip. Then the inverse head and shoulders came up, and that's when I got really excited, because then we actually had a possible sign for a reversal, and that's exactly what we got. And the Fed most definitely did their part to help us out. And you can see that reflected in the volume of these last 3 days of trading. Starting on Wednesday, you can start to see that bullishness really come into it. And after we broke through that neckline at 180, and it's been an incredible move since then, just in that time alone. Just going back to the 1st of December, you're actually up 10% on your money in IWM tracking the Russell 2000. So this is one, 200, We got rejected at that level, 197. We held at about that level. We could settle all the way back to 192 on this one. We're going to have to watch and see. I think small caps do have a ways to go. If they do push higher, we can break back through 200. If we can break through that resistance, we have room up to 207. And that actually, if I zoom out, you can see more of what's going on there. And for this one, certainly on a momentum basis in the overbought territory. So that settling, we pushed well past overbought like we did in the SPY and in the Qs, and this is one that really exceeded that. Let's go out to a weekly basis. On the weekly, we actually still have more room to the upside. So it is possible that that longer term trend takes hold and we could continue up a little bit. I think the next thing that we do is possibly settle throughout the next week and then really amp things up through the last week of December. We'll have to see. I think sometime in the next 2 weeks, even up through sometime in January, we even have that 207. I think that's in the cards. I think they could possibly come up for us. And I think the IWM tracking the Russell 2000 is worth paying attention to. All right, Google today, look at that volume that we have on Google with all the option contracts that either got rolled today or that got closed today, whatever it might have happened to be. That is a lot of volume for Google. And what was it like today performance-wise? It was up about 0.5%. Not so bad. We still have this trend line support going for us. That is excellent. We closed below the moving averages. That is a bearish thing for us. That should this inverse head and shoulder that I've been talking about, should it play out for us, we need to make it above the 50-day SMA and EMA. We do not have a bullish play until that sort of confirmation comes out. And even so, our neckline of 140, where we got rejected multiple times before, is what it takes in order for this to fully get confirmed, is that break up above 140. And then we'll see if we can break some of those previous peaks that we had, such as at 142. If we do, we have room up to 150 on this one, which I'll get it on the screen. There you go, price target 150. So this could possibly play out for us. That's $17 up. That's over a 10% climb in Google. And we'll see if we get that from the inverse head and shoulders or if it breaks formation and starts to tumble. And if it does start to tumble, we could see 130 and then all the way down to the 200-day, which is currently rocking at about $124 per share. Moving over to Nvidia. I got asked by somebody in my Discord, hey, could you update us on Nvidia? What's going on? Absolutely, I can. So for Nvidia, we might possibly have, and it's not formed yet, we got to be watching for this thing. We might possibly have a cup and handle situation where we come up and let me get my drawing tools out here, where we come up and we smooch that 500 line and then we get rejected and we sell off a little bit. And then this distance from bottom to top of this cup is where we could actually see that distance put back on, which would mean new all-time highs coming for Nvidia. I think that is a total possibility as portfolios get shuffled around. I think Nvidia is still one of the winners in the AI space, especially on the infrastructure side, on the hardware side of things. I think they're going to be hard to catch, especially as their H200 systems come online during the second quarter of this next year. And then we also have the B series coming out, which actually sounds like a worse series, but it's actually the superior series to the H200 series that we have coming out. And that, I believe both of those happen in calendar year 2024. And I think it's going to keep the people who need to stay competitive, the companies who need to stay competitive in the AI space, the ones who are racing through that. I think it's going to keep them chomping at the bit for NVIDIA products, and I think it's going to keep demand going for a while yet. And so if you want to see my stock price prediction and earnings projection, that is available over at the Patreon. As a matter of fact, I'll take just a quick break now before we talk about Tesla, just to tell you about that, because the Patreon, which has its link down in the description, my buys and sells are in the Discord that's available through that Patreon for those paying members. That you can get over there. My NVIDIA stock price prediction, my Tesla stock price prediction and earnings projections are both over there right now. I'm going to be updating both of those for this next quarter very soon. So you want to be on the lookout for those. And like I said, my buys and sells, how I'm playing this market, all of those get posted over at the Discord as well, available through the Patreon. My options course is also available. I do a lot of options trading, and I do that options trading through Moomoo. And this is predominantly what I use for my options trading. You get 15 free stocks. They also went commission free on a lot of their options. So normally it costs like 65 cents. This one for your options trades, you actually don't get charged a commission anymore. So that's most definitely something that you want to look into and check into to see which options you do get that charge that commission versus which ones are commission free, because that can certainly help out as well. And there's also those 15 free stocks. Should you deposit the right amount of cash and you meet those deposit levels, it's $1,000 for the 15 free stocks. You think you get 5 free stocks for the $100 level. Click on the offer down in the description. You'll find that out. All right, so let me bring that down and put this chart back up. So for Nvidia, I think it's possible. We don't know if we'll get that cup and handle or not. That's just something I could see possibly happening, especially with how much resistance we've had at that 500 level. Should we see it again and get rejected, I think that we do bounce a little bit. And if we do bounce maybe off the 480 level, for example, before rallying back up and setting new all-time highs, Nvidia is totally in the market's hands right now. So if the market stays strong, Nvidia should also move strongly with it. That is my very firm belief. It's not until we get the next earnings or we get other big news catalysts coming for Nvidia that the price would really change outside of those market movements. So absolutely pay attention to the market bias as well. Tesla on a momentum basis on the daily chart, looking very bullish. We have the 5 crossing the 13 here, also very bullish. I have my daughter singing in the background. That is very cute. But let me move on from here. So we could see more movement to the upside. We did close up above 250. That's good. Our next target is 260. Beyond that, we could hesitate around 258, just so that you're aware. And then there's also 268 up above that could be very good for us. We are finally up above, clearly up above the bearish channel that was here. Yesterday was okay. Today's even better. So this is something that I would most definitely keep your eye on. And if we go out to a weekly basis for Tesla and take a look at that, we are just above 50 on the RSI for the longer term trend. This is one. Look at that bottom wick that we have there. There's a lot going for Tesla right now, and I think that we could see that upside, especially if the market stays at our back and we keep on seeing confirmatory evidence for the Fed to loosen their monetary policy from where they're at right now, instead of being so constrictive as they are, or at restrictive levels as they are. So Tesla, Nvidia, keep them both on your watch list. Google, man, I'm watching that every day. I don't think the play's there yet, but I think the play could be there soon. Enphase I wanted to bring up just because I have been tracking it. And so for Enphase, we popped today. Let me see where this is a weekly. Let me go down to the daily charts we can talk about today. There we go. Today, we popped a little bit more. We peaked at 126.20. We closed at 123.92. And I bought options back here right around $100 per share. And at the $100 strike, I cashed in yesterday at about 118 for almost a 3x gain. So that was pretty cool. Watch my video on that from yesterday afternoon. I was very excited about that. And then today we squeaked out a little bit more, still moving up about 3% from the previous day. And so we want to watch this. We are in the overbought territory, but if we do go back out to the weekly chart on that one, we are just now hitting that bullish moment for Enphase. Now, mind you, we don't have confirmation that we're crossing that 50 fully. Next week should be that confirmation whether we cross the 50 and we move more in a bullish direction, or if we bounce off the 50 for the RSI on a weekly basis and we start to head back down, we get more into bear territory and that this spike is over. So we do want to watch for that confirmation. We do want to see how it plays out. If we're able to stay bullish, we have 130, and honestly on a weekly basis, I think that we have that clear shot to 145 as well, but we have to stay bullish, especially on that weekly basis, in my opinion, in order to hit that value. So we want to be most definitely watching for that. We could set a little bit on the daily basis, so that would be being a shorter time frame for this, a shorter period. This could be one where we see a little bit more settling and a pullback a little bit, testing support, which would be great to find out where that support is at before rocketing back up again. So mind you, 120 as resistance and support. You can see with those two candles that was a good move and how it held steady there as resistance before and as support today. So right now, we do still have that 120 as support. We'll see if we make it up to that 130 next, and hopefully that 145 target, because target 3 would be incredible. And I do anticipate that we could still have further good movements for Enphase. All right, last two for this one. Palantir today, man, it started running, it started popping, and it just wasn't in the cards today. We still have a narrowing of the 5 and the 13, the yellow and the green here. We still need to see that cross. It hasn't happened. We also haven't crossed in the RSI. We don't have confirmation of the bullish movement yet. We have to watch for that confirmation. If it does hit, we have $19. We have about $20.50. The top of this channel, by the way, is up near $22 per share. So depending on how we play this, should we go in a bullish direction, we have several dollars to put onto it. So as a matter of fact, $4 onto that is easily up over 20% where it's at right now. So it's like 25-ish% from where we're at right now. Should we make it back up to the top of that channel? And it's something that I'm tracking and watching for that right moment to seize, to get in there. Should we move in a bullish direction? Should we break the 50s here? Should we break this trend line? Should we break the 17? What do I have that at? 17.14. Should we break down below that? There's some decent gaps in here. I mean, we have support probably around $16 per share, and it looks like we might have a little bit more around $15. So it looks like it's going in dollar increments on this. And then we have an ultimate support, in my opinion, down here, which is very far down. Man, things would have to be a mess for Palantir in order to get down there. Right now, I'm looking in the bullish direction. I'm just telling you with this bearish stuff that should these formations break, should we move in a direction I don't expect, that's what would be there. So just to be clear, I think we're getting a good bullish setup here. I think we could possibly return to the top of this channel. And if we do, it'll be a very good time, especially for those of you out there who like options. And I have not taken a position yet, but I'm watching this every day, and I plan to take one should the moment strike. Today was almost that moment. It just got taken for us. Monday could be a very exciting day. Finally, ExxonMobil, talked about this earlier. Nice volume here. Don't have the 5 and 13 cross. We still have the 50 period. 104 is going to be tough. And I also mentioned 106 earlier. Clearing those two levels. And now, mind you, just breaking out of this descending wedge that we have here, breaking up above about that 102 level is what I'm initially looking for. I would like to see up above the 50 EMA and SMA, move up above those two to have some room, but with it in mind, with the clear idea in mind that that 200-day is lurking there at about, let me see, I can tell you the exact number as of today's close, 106.53. So that we could most definitely find a lot of resistance there and then head back down south. Should we break through that, clearly being up above the 200 days is a very bullish thing. And so we want to watch for that, especially if we expect the global economy to take more of an uptick, or maybe we've already seen that sell-off given the bad news, and now it's time to start rising with the price for ExxonMobil. So we're just going to have to watch and see that. All right, guys, I better wrap this thing up. So the indices, we might see some settling in the near term. I do not think that the bull run is over for us yet. So I think December and January could still be very good months. I don't see the technical indicators flashing signs that it's going to change anytime soon. And also in terms of economic reports, the near-term ones are also expected to be pretty darn good for us. So we'll keep the punch going at the party for right now. And also about some of the other stocks that I talked about. In this one, I talked about them because I'm excited about them and because I think there's a lot of potential in the near term for them in terms of what we have for Tesla and Nvidia specifically, which I track very closely. I think there's a bright future for those over the long term and why I hold them directly in my portfolio. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Check out the link for the Patreon. Oh gosh, I didn't tell you about my trades today, and I said I would do that. So last thing, and then I'm going to bring this all back together for you. So I put QQQ back up here because one of my trades was on, actually both of them were related to it. So one was TQQQ, so triple leverage. That one was it was between 8 and 9% gain on that one. Not too bad. And I didn't know where we would find the top for today. And I wasn't also able to actively track the market the entire day. So I took my small victory on that one. And I was very happy with it to see that 8 or 9%. And to wait overnight for that to happen, I call that pretty good because some people wait all year long for the 8 or 9% from like SPY or QQQ on average anyway. However, let me go down to the intraday level on this one because I want to give a little bit of commentary. So let me reset the chart view. There we go. And I'll scroll this way. Right here, this head and shoulders pattern that you can see me indicating, and I used to have a line on here, but I got rid of it. Right here is the neckline that we have for that head and shoulders. I was talking about this over in my day trade channel. That's in my Discord, and I said we have a head and shoulders pattern coming up. Watch for the drop line. Watch for us to break the neckline, which happened right here at 12:37, by the way. I think I may have entered this just a little bit early. As a matter of fact, I think I entered it 1 minute earlier at 12:36 because we dropped down below the 200. I said beware of VWAP, which is right here, which at the time was at about 405.30. I said watch for that because that could be support for us. And because I'm going short on this, I use 0 DTE put options on this with the I use 0. Of course, the expiration was today, 0 DTE. In any case, I bought those. I think I did either 405 or 404 strike. It was 405. Now I remember correctly. It was 405. And so I watched it. And all we were doing was wiggling between the neckline and the VWAP that we have on here. So it's the bread recipe from Stockmo, but then also the VWAP on top of it, which is like the raisins or the glaze that everyone, decorate the bread a little bit, just dress it up a little bit. For me, it's a little bit more about confirmation and if it matches my trading style, so I like to use it as well. So watch for that to happen. Watch this big drop happen. And then when I saw this drop happen right here, and then the next one over was a green candle, I felt like it was starting to get overdone. Plus, I had 2 warning shots on the RSI. The first one was the minute before. Next minute was warning shot number 2 that this thing was getting oversold. And so in the beginning of the very next minute, I sold out of this thing. That ended up being, I believe, I'd have to go look at my numbers. It was either 64 or 68% profit. And it took me 11 and a half minutes in order to make 64 to 68%. In that day trade that I made, and it was more profitable than the overnight options position that I took with triple leverage QQQ, so TQQQ. All right, so I did say that I would share those with you. So there I shared it with you. And if you guys want to see more of what I'm buying, selling, if you want to talk to me and my community members, if you want to see my options course, that is all in the Patreon. That link is down below. Stockmo, by the way, has a course out right now, and he selected me to add stuff to that course. So I'm pretty excited about that. I will let you guys know as that becomes available if you want to learn more about the bread recipe that he has, and also check out the coursework. It is top notch. I really do support it. And then also down in the description is my link for Moomoo if you want to get your free stocks and then also get access to a wonderful trading platform that's there as well. All right, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.